just didn't like this game, okay? I had such high hopes after the multiplayer beta, but this just isn't good. And everyone seems to be gushing over it.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
The conflict is tearing me apart. If we're being honest, a lot of the amazing things the multiplayer does right still applies here in the single player, but the things the campaign does wrong are done so wrong that even some of the best gunplay this decade can't make up for it. And before you keyboard warriors descend into my comment section, I'm gonna have to stop you right there. No, just because this campaign is better than Halo 5 doesn't mean it gets a free pass. Okay, so I have a lot of problems with this game. So here are my 3 main reasons why I thought Halo Infinite's single-player campaign was just not very good.
3!
Okay, let's see what we got here. Gravity voice protagonist with mundane motivation, check. Bad guy that's bad because being bad is his thing, check. Quirky sidekicks that specialize in A, whimpering in the corner, and B, being upbeat and lovable, check and check. Uncomplicated war in which bad is bad, good is good, and swarms can be mowed down with 0 morality issues, check. Okay, so this is one of the most conservative, white bread, safe military shooter campaigns I've ever played. Sadly, gone are the days of campaigns like Spec Ops The Line and Call of Duty Black Ops, games that had themes and focused on things like the friends lost in battle and the hard decisions made in wartime. I'm just tired of studios telling stories for the sake of adding a single-player mode, rather than because the writers had something interesting to say. And if you're coming into this hoping at the very least for some epic Halo moments, well, I've got some bad news for you. What cool moments there are all happen in the cutscenes. Like this part. Ooh, maybe this is the grapple tutorial. No? Okay, just watching then. And this part here? Can I like steer or grapple onto the pelican? Oh no? Oh, okay. Yes, this is all very cool, but I'd like to have some input. Hell, put it on rails if you have to. Like you're putting me on Dad's lap so I can hold the steering wheel while he manages the pedals. But no, this game can't even hold your hand correctly. Time and time again, Halo Infinite story does a fantastic job of showing you just how cool it could be. Let's take another look at that extremely long opening cinematic. Chief is outnumbered on an enemy space station, duking it out with rejected Thanos henchmen and big bad of Halo Wars 2 of all things, Atriox. He ultimately kicks Chief's ass pretty decisively and throws him into the cold vacuum of space. Now, imagine if you got to do this fight. This was a great opportunity for the game to show us an older Chief, on the back foot and not as strong as he once was, but sadly, Infinite seems too scared to mess with the fanbase's deification of their beloved Master Chief. However, the fact that I'm not the one in control of Chief here isn't even the thing that pisses me off the most about the opening. It's the fact that the very next time our supposed villain Atriox is mentioned, it's when we find out that he's been fucking killed off screen. His purpose is literally to beat up Master Chief, toss him away like a used napkin, and then he's just gone? Atriox is swiftly and unceremoniously replaced by Escharum and the enigmatic Harbinger, who serve as the big bads for the remainder of the game. Unfortunately, both are forgettable characters with vague or uninteresting motivations. But fine, while Escharum's chest-beating, thick-browed writing is uninteresting, it's not necessarily bad. You know what is bad though? Studio-mandated sidekick A, the pilot. My god, this guy is just grating. Nothing takes the fun out of mowing down hordes of aliens like having to babysit a kid who's constantly whining at you that they want to go home. Besides being an annoying little shit, this character just doesn't matter. Yes, I know he had this one kinda touching moment, but him having a family doesn't instantly make him an interesting character. John Halo, meanwhile, is still the same xenocidal green slab he's always been. The only noticeable difference is that Steve Downes is now delivering a somewhat older and wearier Chief. As I already mentioned, the opening cinematic could have used this to fantastic effect, but sadly 343 stick to Mario Syndrome rules, refusing to evolve the character, and ultimately they just fail to build on Downes' new take. Chief's stoic, single-minded determination is just as prevalent as ever here, and this brings us to what I feel is a major pitfall with the writing. Whenever the pilot and Chief share any scene together, the writing just tends to collapse. The pilot and Chief are like oil and water, EA and moral business practices. They just don't mix. I get that the pilot is supposed to be a contrast to the Chief, but at the end of the day, every encounter they share just comes off as fucking annoying. The last character to round out our intrepid trio is Diet Cortana. Your new AI buddy, codenamed The Weapon, is fine, I guess. I mean, she's a bit fucking chipper despite everything. And her quirky line delivery only lands about 50% of the time. Regardless, I did enjoy Jen Taylor's voice acting and mocap performance. Still, cutting Cortana almost entirely from the story only to replace her with a knockoff from Wish.com was, in my opinion, a bad move. However, it is a move that falls in line with Chief's Mario Syndrome and 343's absolute fear of changing anything after the vitriol fans gave them for their last two entries in the series. But honestly, I think I'm just salty because I think I want my thick mentally deranged space waifu back. My god. We actually live in a world where you could conceivably say, maybe I shouldn't do this mission yet. I don't think I've leveled Master Chief up enough. It was inevitable. The oversaturation of RPG light mechanics all started when Ubisoft decided that Assassin's Creed would no longer be Assassin's Creed. And now here we are where in Valhalla, depending on how you build your character, you can literally be bad at stealth in an Assassin's Creed game. Obviously, it's not that bad in Infinite, but it's a slippery slope and one we've seen many games fall down. I mean, how long until we're filling up our backpacks with 20 reskinned needlers with minor stat differences? I'm concerned that Halo Infinite is the start of a shift towards a tired design philosophy that many once beloved series adopted. So, in terms of RPG light mechanics, you progress through the story and unlock more abilities, most of which we've seen in previous Halo games before, so no red flags yet. However, you then have to spend a new currency called Spartan Cores to upgrade these abilities. It is, all in all, just not a particularly compelling system. I struggle to see what value it adds to the broader game, other than to serve as some sort of padded progression. The Spartan cores are literally painted on your map, which means that finding them isn't very hard, so if their purpose was to incentivize exploration, they mostly failed in that regard. Plus, when you do get them, they're often just laying there. I mean, at least give me a jumping puzzle or some hunters. So the act of getting these Spartan cores is just plain uninspired, but worse still, the upgrades themselves are mostly uninteresting. The real sin, however, is that you're honestly not going to be using most of these abilities anyway, so what exactly is the point? Let's take a look at how they implemented these abilities to show you what I mean. The game starts you out with the grapple shot, which, I will not lie, is pretty fucking dope. As the game progresses, you get more and more proficient in using it, finding new and creative ways of getting the upper hand, spider chiefing it all over the battlefield. But as soon as you unlock more abilities, you find that you can only equip one at a time. And for some reason, the grapple shot counts as an ability. I mean, what the fuck? There are a lot of buttons on an Xbox controller. See, I checked. They could have easily found a way to give each ability its own fucking button. Imagine just how much more creative and interesting the movement could have been if you could chain dashing and grappling together without having to swap between the two. But I don't know, I guess 343 were just determined to aggressively hold back the fun factor from us. Okay, so let's get into the things that really piss me off. Yeah, honestly, I was holding back until now. I knew the open world wasn't gonna be great, but I still somehow managed to trick myself into hoping it wouldn't be as problematic as it is. I honestly don't understand why devs feel the need to go open world. And yes, before you say it, God of War going semi-open world did work. It made the transition from a semi-fixed camera hack and slasher to a open world action RPG, and yeah, it succeeded. But that was because they used their new level design tools to play to the game's pre-existing strengths. Strengths an open world built for the PlayStation 2 just couldn't capitalize on. So yeah, that makes sense. But here, well, this just doesn't make much sense at all. The thing I loved about previous Halo games was the brilliantly balanced combat situations, really forcing you to think about each encounter, and the core of that balance largely came from the incredibly fine-tuned levels. But here's the thing. When I can come at an enemy camp from any direction, by its very nature, that massively limits the game designer's ability to, well, design the encounter. Maybe I'll come at the camp from one angle, resulting in a difficult uphill slog, or maybe I'll come from another direction, making it a cakewalk, and of course, I could just bring a scorpion and blitzkrieg their asses without taking a single hit. This play it your way style of game design, in my opinion, just doesn't work with the Halo formula. I don't want to make my own fun. That's what we pay these companies for. Design a fun encounter and don't leave it up to me. Look, I'm not against play it your way in theory. I mean, Act 1 of Divinity Original Sin 2 is still one of the best pieces of game design I've ever seen. I often go back and replay it, and almost every time I find a new way to escape Fort Joy, but every one of those escape routes was meticulously planned, so while I could feel all big brain for finding a new path, it would still be full of incredibly well-designed encounters and levels. And this brings me to the thing that pisses me off the most about the game. The levels and biomes you're gonna be spending your time in. There are 2 biomes in this game: Hyrule-style grassy fields and Forerunner facilities. Even Combat Evolved, a 20-year-old game, took you from the grassy fields and cold alien facilities of Infinite to caves, snowy areas, deserts, and beaches. Infinite literally just has the 2. And with these limited environments, we have an incredibly limited amount of environment assets, and the level design suffers simply due to the severe lack of variety, meaning that you will very quickly start to recognize the same rooms and same enemy configurations over and over. I'm just gonna be frank. I don't want to play Far Cry Infinite. I want to play Halo. First they bring this shit into Dragon Age, and now this. Needless open worlds or RPG mechanics are implemented without thinking about the cost these features have on the core gameplay, and it's hurting too many series I care very deeply about. Ultimately, I find Halo Infinite to just be boring. It's just so boring to me, and it's such a slog to get through because after the first hour of the game, you've literally seen everything it has to show you. And look, I absolutely see the 6 years of incredibly hard work that was put into this game, but that kinda makes me sad because I just can't help but feel that all that hard work was directed in entirely the wrong places. So, while the multiplayer is brilliant and I can see myself playing it for years to come, and while I'll still go back and play the original Bungie-made Halo games, I just don't see myself touching Halo Infinite Singleplayer Campaign ever again. Hey, welcome to the end of the video. If you made it this far, thanks so much. Don't forget to leave a like and comment, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. All these things really help the algorithm just pick up on the channel and help me grow a little bit. So yeah, I'd really appreciate it if you took the time to just appease the algorithm. This was a hard video for me to make. I'm definitely feeling the after effects of COVID. I almost passed out while recording the video for this. My voice hasn't been good this week. I've really felt quite sick. So I do apologize for the dip in audio quality, but I am resting and trying to get better, and I know that with our next video, we're gonna have some great audio again. Happy New Year to everyone, and I'm really looking forward to the things we're going to do with the channel this year. We're going to try and grow a lot. We have a lot of video plans coming up. We have a new series we want to start on top of just the regular reviews and breakdowns. So it's going to be a really cool year. So please stick around, share us with your friends, and yeah, thanks so much for watching the video. And as always, you know this is just my opinion, right?